Blake Lively tried to extort, blackmail, witness tamper, all of those things with Taylor Swift.
Swift was really hurt after being implicated in this fight.
Blake Lively allegedly tried to blackmail Taylor Swift with a decade's worth of private texts, demanding backing in court. And guess what? The judge isn't having it.
And so when you think about it, how Taylor all these past few months has been denying that she knows anything about it. She hasn't been part of it. She doesn't want to be involved. But they were behind the scenes already sharing this information with Brian Friedman.
Blake keeps pushing his patience with PR stunts and legal chaos. And now even the court is fed up with her diva-level delusions.
He responds directly to an affidavit that Justin Baldoni's attorney, Brian Friedman, submitted to the court, and we've got the detail.
So let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Blake Lively got accused of blackmailing Taylor freaking Swift. Yeah, Gossip Girl turned Gaslight Girl real fast. In what can only be described as the Super Bowl of celebrity betrayal, Justin Baldoni's attorney, Brian Friedman, dropped a legal grenade so massive it made Hollywood's Botox freeze mid-injection.
He was subpoenaing Taylor Swift. He knew what he was doing. This wasn't just a fly-by-night thing.
This man straight up accused Blake of threatening to leak 10 years, yes, 10 years, of private texts with Taylor Swift if Taylor didn't go full "I stand with Blake" mode during the lawsuit.
Telling Taylor essentially that unless she backed up Blake's claims of SH, then they would release personal text messages about Taylor Swift to the public.
Let's break that down. Imagine being so entitled, so desperate for backup in your PR dumpster fire, that you allegedly corner one of the most powerful women on the planet and say, "Back me, or I'm unleashing the receipts." Like, is this a friendship or a hostage negotiation? And it doesn't stop there.
Then this has been hanging over them since the Super Bowl.
Blake's team didn't just drop this "support me or else" bomb. They allegedly followed it up with, "By the way, could you delete those messages too? Because if you're going to threaten someone, might as well try to destroy the evidence while you're at it, right?" You know, classic girl boss war crime energy.
And also that they wanted Taylor to delete text messages, I guess between her and perhaps between her and Ryan, but we know between her and Blake. We don't know what is in those text messages.
Now, here's where it gets extra crispy. This wasn't some anonymous Twitter rant. This allegation was filed in court, as in legally submitted with a sworn affidavit. Lie in one of those, and you're facing perjury charges and your legal career going poof. So Brian Friedman wasn't just talking trash. He was betting his license on this. He literally said, "I'm a lawyer. I'm standing by this, and if I'm lying, you can disbar me." That's not tea. That's a boiling pot of scalding truth ready to spill.
Brian Friedman wrote to the judge. Now, I'm going to read it out to you, and he's asserting how he found the information, and he's affirming that, like, I'm a lawyer, I'm putting my career on the line, I am putting myself on.
And guess what the judge did? He threw the whole thing out, not because he thought it was BS, nope, but because the law firm handling the subpoena, Venal LLP, is based in DC, not New York. That's right. Judge Louis J. Lyman basically shrugged and said, "Yeah, not my circus, not my jurisdiction." Blake didn't win anything. The court just said, "This isn't my table. Take your scandalous mess to DC."
Yesterday, it was known that Judge Lehman had striked the letter that Freeman sent him, explaining why he needed to subpoena Taylor Swift.
Now, let's talk about that affidavit for a second, because the details are nuclear. It's Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2025. While the rest of us were wondering why we're still single, Brian Friedman was getting a call from someone dangerously close to Taylor Swift.
A voicemail from a person very closely linked to Taylor Swift, whom I subsequently called back the same day. Out of respect for the individual in question, I am not identifying them at this time. However, should the court direct me to do so, I will comply with the court's.
Not just any source, someone with the kind of access most people would sell a kidney for. The call lasted a full hour. 60 minutes of insider drama that makes any Real Housewives reunion look like nap time.
This affidavit in opposition to the motion to strike filed on May 14, 2025 by Blakelively regarding my May 14, 2025 letter elaborating on the basis for Wayfarer Party's subpoena to Venable LLP. So Venable is the law firm that represents Taylor Swift.
During this call, the source said Blake's lawyer, Michael Gatley, remember that name, called Taylor's lawyer and basically laid down the mob boss ultimatum. Taylor better post a statement in support of Blake, or 10 years of texts hit the internet. That's not just shady. That's villain origin story levels of petty.
Now, Michael Gottlieb, Blake's attorney, he's the one denying that any of this ever happened in the press. So not only is he defending his client, but he's trying to defend himself. This is why it almost seems like his response is very emotional.
And the kicker? Taylor's lawyer allegedly hung up and called it exactly what it was: extortion. Not uncomfortable, not tense, not awkward, straight up extortion. Then, as if that wasn't enough, a written follow-up was sent. Yes, there's allegedly a written communication from Taylor's lawyer to Blake's team addressing the whole blackmail nonsense.
Requested on Miss Lively's behalf that Taylor Swift make a social media statement in support of Miss Lively, given her absence from the Super Bowl that year, and stated that if Miss Swift failed to do so, Miss Lively would release 10 years.
That's the smoking gun Baldoni's team was trying to get through the subpoena before Blake's lawyers rushed in like, no. Irrelevant. Let's not bring that up. Girl, if it's so irrelevant, why are you trying to bury it 6 feet deep?
What happened? This is extortion, and I believe this happened without a doubt. I'm taking this as fact. You can bank everything on it. This happened. All right.
Let's rewind and talk about the triggering event for all this chaos. The Super Bowl. Blake wasn't invited. Taylor didn't include her. Not a big deal to most, but to Blake, apparently, it was a full-scale betrayal. That's reportedly what sparked this alleged meltdown, where she panicked and demanded public support like it was a ransom note. Taylor confirmed this was true, but plot twist, she hadn't spoken to Blake in months. Literally everything went through lawyers. You know a friendship's dead when you have to schedule a catch-up through legal counsel. While Taylor was dealing with being legally subpoenaed, Blake was out here fake laughing next to Salma Hayek in front of paparazzi, like she was starring in a Netflix drama titled Desperately Pretending I Still Have Friends. The photo ops were so staged they could have been AI generated, and the press noticed.
This is Taylor confirming that this is true.
Even publications that usually bend over backward for Blake and Ryan, People, Daily Mail, were done playing along. People magazine, once her personal cheerleading squad, reported that Taylor and Blake's friendship had stopped. Not a we're on a break kind of halt, but more like, this is dead. Please don't revive it. Taylor, they said, wanted no part of this drama.
Lively and Ryan Reynolds caught up with pal Salma Hayek as their ongoing legal battle with Justin Baldoni continues. Yeah, I'm sure. This was just natural and organic.
And why would she? While Taylor's getting dragged into a lawsuit she never signed up for, Blake is out here spinning friendship fairy tales for media headlines. Meanwhile, Baldoni's team is quietly stacking receipts, affidavits, and subpoena filings like they're playing chess, while Blake's playing Clue, accusing everyone of murder in the conservatory with a candlestick.
Spent quality time with the couple over the years, making dinner for them and having a girls' night in 2016. So almost a decade ago, they had a girls' night and she's been making dinner for them. Stop the cap, please. Why'd they get Salma to do this?
Let's not forget Blake's PR stunts, the whole dinner with Salma Hayek moment. Yeah, we saw the footage. Salma looked like she was trying to socially distance from Blake in 2025. Her body language screamed, "Get me out of here." But the PR photo said, "We're besties forever." Hilarious, painful, desperate. Pick your adjective.
No, and they said, look, Salma, you got to do this or, they're going to expose this about us. Back in 2017, Hayek praised Lively during a speech at Variety's Power of Women luncheon.
And all of this, from the subpoena meltdown to the crumbling friendships to the Super Bowl sulk, is leading to one thing: Blake Lively is spiraling, and she's dragging everyone with her, except Taylor. Because Taylor dipped. Swifties noticed. Hollywood noticed. Even Travis Kelce noticed. He literally unfollowed Ryanreynolds the day Taylor was subpoenaed. You know something's rotten when NFL boyfriends start picking sides.
What do they have on Salma? Who roped Salma Hayek into this? Does she not know what's going on with the case? Do they have dirt on her? Did they blackmail her like it's being alleged that they blackmailed Taylor Swift?
But Blake? She's out here scrambling, filing motions, staging photos, and pretending like nothing's wrong, while the court of public opinion is tossing tomatoes like it's a Shakespearean tragedy. So let's talk about Judge Lyman's ruling, because Blake Lively's PR team has been spinning it like they just won the Oscars.
Also, Blake Lively had asked Taylor Swift to delete text messages between them from 4 or 5 months before this phone call actually took place with Brian Friedman and this source, this anonymous source, which took place in February. That indicates that Blake Lively was already trying to get rid of evidence.
Girl, no. This wasn't a win. This was a jurisdictional redirect with a side of, you tried it. On May 15th, 2025, Judge Louis J. Lyman struck the affidavit from the New York docket, not because it was false, not because it lacked evidence, but because it wasn't his court's business. The subpoena involved a D.C.-based law firm, so Lyman simply said, "Not my court, not my problem."
Judge grants Blake Lively's request to Blake Lively's request to have improper Taylor Swift bullion claims tossed out. They're not just bullion claims. We're talking about witness tamper.
And yet Blake's team ran to the media faster than she ran to Salma Hayek for a staged photo op, waving that ruling like it was a clearance certificate. Babe, it's not a declaration of innocence. It's a technicality. Lyman literally said the affidavit was irrelevant to any issue before the court. That's legal speak for, this isn't my sandbox. It's giving full redirect to customer service energy.
Is that the judge tossed it out for 2 reasons. One reason was that he said that this is not relevant in this case that we have going here between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. And he said that this was kind of salacious and it was to promote a public scandal. The other reason is that he said this doesn't belong in my court because Friedman was asking to see documents from Taylor Swift's lawyer.
But here's where it gets juicier. Lyman didn't just say no, he dragged hard. He called out the affidavit as a transparent invitation to scandal, accusing Friedman of using the court as a reservoir for libelous statements. That's basically the courtroom version of saying, "Don't use my desk to pass notes in class." But again, he didn't say it wasn't true. He just said, "Take this circus to the court that actually has jurisdiction." In other words, see you in D.C., Blake. Pack your subpoena heels.
Thank you.
You may think, is that a new dragon? Salma Hayek is married to a billionaire. So first and foremost, let's think about that because that's the hemisphere that Blake Lively is immediately attracted to.
And now, the most brutal silence in recent history, Taylor Swift. This woman is the queen of shutting down lies. AI images of her wiped off Twitter overnight. Marriage rumors with Joe Alwyn gone in 30 seconds. She doesn't wait for things to boil, she nukes them. So when she stays silent on a blackmail allegation involving her bestie turned backstabber, that's not silence, that's war in slow motion.
Apparently, there were documents showing that this conversation between Taylor Swift's lawyer and Blake Lively's lawyer actually took place, and that he was basically threatened to tell Taylor Swift to post public support for Blake Lively.
Taylor's PR hit squad, Payne, the most terrifyingly efficient publicist in the business, hasn't said a word. No tweets, no sources close to Taylor, no off-the-record comments, no vibes, no mood boards, nothing. You know how serious it is when Payne doesn't even bother with a denial.
I think Taylor's silence throughout this entire process is the evidence that nothing really happened.
And if Blake Lively really hadn't tried to blackmail her, you bet Payne would have been on a press tour by now, calling it false, hurtful, unfounded, and deeply disappointing. But nope, Radio silence, the kind that echoes across the industry like a warning shot.
Perhaps even her lawyer will deny it. But outright, you will see T-Pain, you will see Taylor Swift, you will see an immediate denial. They're not going to just let something float out there about Taylor and not address it, especially something this big, not just rumors or innuendos.
People magazine, which usually eats out of Blake's hand like a well-trained golden retriever, reported that Taylor was deeply hurt and wanted no part of this drama. Translation: she's out. She's done. She yeeted Blake straight out of the girls' squad group chat and slammed the metaphorical door so hard the Wi-Fi trembled.
About the story of Blake Lively trying to extort, blackmail, whichever way you want to call it, witness tampering, trying to destroy evidence. Where is the story of Taylor saying this isn't true?
And let's not forget the digital equivalent of a cold-blooded murder. Travis Kelce unfollowed Ryanreynolds. Quiet, savage, and absolutely intentional. Travis doesn't do drama. He plays football and smiles for pictures. So when he hits unfollow, it's a silent scream that says, "I'm Team Taylor." Period. The dude didn't even need to post a statement. One button, one tap, one unfollow, and the internet lit up like Christmas morning.
Where is T-Pain? T-Pain wouldn't let this just be out here if it was a lie, if it was false. To me, this is Taylor confirming that this is true.
Now, imagine being Blake and realizing your entire Hollywood support system is collapsing faster than your court credibility. Taylor's gone. Gigi's gone. Travis is gone. Even Ryan's probably side-eyeing the subpoena pile like, how did we get here? What was once the power couple everyone wanted to double date with has now turned into the duo nobodies texting back.
Likes to cause some drama. She does cause her own drama when she feels it's justified, and she shuts down drama with her lawyers and her reps.
And Blake, instead of laying low, went full desperation mode. From fake dinners with Salma Hayek to popping up in Vogue interviews talking about how her friendships are full of grace and directness. Girl, your friendships are now court exhibits. You're not being direct, you're being subpoenaed.
Lively speaking about her friend in private and using her, labeling her her dragon. That's a pretty hard thing to not see again. Like, whoa, that's what you think of me? I'm here to be your chess piece and you use me to get how you want? Oh, and then by the way, it turns out Justin maybe wasn't as bad as you kept telling.
Let's be honest. Blake isn't just losing friends. She's burning bridges, torching them, and then trying to dance around the ashes in designer heels. And it's not working. Her team's frantic efforts to flip the narrative are flopping harder than her It Ends With Us film rollout. She had the audacity to weaponize her friendship with Taylor Swift, the woman who literally wrote an entire album about toxic friendships and expected not to end up as a lyric.
To contact each other through their attorneys. And when they do, when Blake doesn't get the support she wants, she's going to release 10 years of text messages.
This isn't just a bad week for Blake. This is legacy damage. She didn't just lose Taylor. She lost the illusion that she was ever the nice one in the PR bestie trio. Hollywood sees through it now. The girl who once played Serena van der Woodsen is now giving full villain arc energy, minus the self-awareness.
Look, the reality check here is Taylor Swift is no longer friends with Blake Lively. This is, I firmly believe this.
Even Blake's own camp sounds shook. They're tossing around legal jargon like categorically false and untethered from reality, trying to bury this under so many adjectives it disappears. But here's the problem. When Taylor Swift refuses to defend you, the silence is louder than any press release.
Justin maybe wasn't as bad as you kept telling me he was, and I'm seeing all this stuff come in and it clearly is more complicated, and now I'm being dragged in to this drama. Imagine being a friend with somebody like you would not want to be involved with that friend. You would look at them differently. Of course that's what's happening.
And what's wild? All of this, every friendship fracture, every unfollow, every tabloid meltdown, is happening before the real legal fight even begins. This is just the warm-up. The affidavit didn't disappear. It's just moving courts. The truth is still out there, waiting. Blake can hire all the PR wizards she wants, but Taylor Swift's silence has already told the world everything it needs to know.
Yeah, the friendship has halted, a source says close to Swift. Taylor wants no part in this drama.
Because in Taylor's world, Silence isn't passive. It's tactical. It's surgical. And when she cuts you off, she doesn't do it with drama. She does it with devastating calm. No tweets, no notes, no app apology, just exile. And when the Swifties follow her lead, that's the kind of cancellation no Vogue cover can fix.
As you know, Blake was threatening to leak their text messages. If she would leak them now, that would look terrible, and also we would know it was coming from her. So this was a great way for Taylor to actually just shut that down.
So let's get into the part Blake Lively wishes we'd all forget: the deleted texts and her masterclass in manipulation. According to the sworn affidavit that sent her PR team into cardiac arrest, Blake wasn't just reacting. She was pre-planning. Way back in October 2024, months before the lawsuit even saw daylight, she reportedly asked Taylor Swift to delete their texts.
Many people have commented and pointed out that it can't be coming from anywhere else than Taylor Swift herself or her camp. But, you know, she doesn't let anyone else do anything on behalf of her without her approval. So, yeah.
Not just a few awkward memes or shady group chat moments. We're talking a full-on digital house cleaning. This wasn't some emotional panic move. It was calculated. It was strategic. It was Blake clearing the stage for the performance of her lifetime, where she gets to be the victim, the heroine, the wounded soul. Except the only thing wounded now: her reputation.
Several phone calls since February 14th. So that means Taylor's team has been talking to Brian Friedman, not just that one time, but they've had several talks since then. Again, we don't have confirmation that it's Taylor Swift's team, but who else would have private communication from an attorney?
And if she thought the public didn't notice, well, let's just say even People magazine turned on her, the same outlet that once wrote puff pieces about her family picnics and baking skills. They're out here now saying the friendship with Taylor is fractured and that there's no recovering from this. You know how bad it has to get for people to stop sugarcoating? That's the celebrity equivalent of your own grandma unfollowing you on Facebook.
Judge Lyman can't actually rule on this. He does not have jurisdiction. So he's not saying there's no merit to it. His hands are tied. He can't rule on it. So it has to go to a DC court. It has to be litigated outside.
And it's not just the public roasting her. Hollywood is panicking. Sources say Ryan Reynolds is feeling the heat from studios and networks. You know things are serious when Deadpool is sweating, because this isn't just about Blake anymore. It's about the reputation of the Reynolds Lively brand, which up until now was marketed as the gold standard of Hollywood marriages.
Magazine has turned on Blake Lively, and now another A-lister is cutting ties next.
But now it's more like the fire sale of failing couple PR. Even Gigi Hadid and Travis Kelce, who were once publicly supportive, are out. They've pulled the plug, unfollowed, distanced, and deleted. And you know what? Good for them. There's only so much secondhand embarrassment one can take.
Narcissism is off the charts, guys. Like, we've entered a new realm. Threatening Taylor Swift, Blake Lively, and I think a lot of these threats also stem from Ryan Reynolds. This is how he moves. This is how he operates, in my opinion.
The irony here is rich. Blake accused Justin Baldoni of emotional manipulation, of using power to get his way. And yet, what has she done since the beginning of this mess? Leaked stories, forced loyalty, threatened to spill secrets, dangled Taylor Swift's name like it was some golden shield to protect her in court. If that's not manipulation, I don't know what is. Actually, I do. It's textbook gaslighting, but with better lighting and a Vogue stylist.
There's friend of the model said that Gigi is close to Taylor and has definitely taken her side in this whole drama. Gigi doesn't want to get involved in this whole ordeal, but she's closer to Taylor and has distanced herself from Blake, although she still considers her as a friend. Okay.
And then, after all that scheming and scandal, what did she actually win? A single affidavit tossed from the wrong court. That's it. That's the big victory. Let's be clear. This wasn't a legal win. It was a jurisdictional technicality. The judge didn't clear her name. He didn't say, "Wow, Blake is innocent." No, he said, "This doesn't belong in my court. Send it to DC." So while Blake's team paraded around like they just solved world peace, the rest of us were like, sis, you didn't get acquitted. You got redirected.
Gigi might be trying to be diplomatic here, but you can't really take Taylor's side. There's no side here. It's the truth, and it's someone lying, obviously.
And the court fight? It's just beginning, because now it's headed to Washington, D.C., where the attorneys from Taylor Swift's legal team, Venable LLP, actually operate. So that subpoena Blake fought so hard to kill? It's likely going to resurface, with more firepower, more evidence, and more exposure. And this time, the jurisdiction is a perfect match. TikTok, Blake.
I guess people were a bit disappointed in what happened yesterday when the judge tossed this out.
What's worse is that while Blake plays PR survivor, Taylor Swift is gliding through this like nothing even happened. Not a scratch, not a dent. She hasn't lost a single brand deal. She's not hiding from paparazzi. She's not posting damage control videos or staging dinners with random celebrities. She's calm, collected, possibly cooperating with Baldoni's team behind the scenes. And honestly, it's terrifying. Not for us, but for Blake. Because when Taylor Swift cuts you off, she doesn't slam doors, she builds walls. And Blake? She's locked out permanently.
The judge said yesterday is that you can't talk about this on my docket, meaning in his court in New York, because Venable LLP, which is the law firm that Taylor Swift's lawyer is a partner in, are based in DC. So what he could do now is basically file the same thing in DC.
Meanwhile, Blake's celebrity credibility is crumbling like a bad Netflix script. Her inner circle has shrunk faster than her plausible deniability. The public sees it. The industry sees it. And she still thinks she can PR her way out of this with what? A Vogue quote about how her friends lift her up. Girl, your friends left you on read. You can't talk about loyalty when you've been out here trying to blackmail the godmother of your children. And let's not even pretend Blake Lively is the misunderstood party in this drama. She weaponized her proximity to Taylor Swift for sympathy points. She tried to use Taylor's silence to look innocent. She leaned into her PR machine, thinking she could manipulate her way back into the public's good graces. But no amount of Vanity Fair lighting can fix what's been exposed here. Because in the end, the woman who tried to turn private texts into public leverage might have just written her own downfall, and not with a pen, but with a subpoena and the final punch. If Blake thought she could scare Taylor into silence with empty threats, she clearly forgot who she was dealing with. Taylor Swift writes Grammy-winning diss tracks for fun. You think she's going to let some desperate deleted text faze her? Please. Blake messed with the wrong songwriter. And now, every headline is her bridge burning in real time. And if you thought this was peak chaos, just wait till the DC courts get involved. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next episode of Blake's Public Meltdown.